Jai Gurudev and good morning, everyone. This is the penultimate conversation of the World Happiness Summit, and we could not think of a more fitting person to interview than His Holiness Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji. To briefly introduce him, Gurudev is a global humanitarian, spiritual leader, and ambassador of peace. His programs for health and holistic well-being have touched lives of over 800 million people across more than 180 countries. Gurudev believes that inner peace is the foundation for creating a peaceful world, and he works to build bridges across faiths, fostering compassion, love, and mutual understanding for a stress free and violence free society. Jai Gurudev, yes. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, especially on this important occasion of World Happiness Day. I believe in the potential for a world free from violence where inner peace is the cornerstone of lasting happiness. Gurudev, a personal question. Can you share with us the first time you developed an insight or an epiphany about how to become a happy and fulfilled person? From a young age, I was drawn to resolving conflicts wherever I saw disputes. I wanted to intervene and create peace. Growing up, my teacher, who had been with Mahatma Gandhi for 4 decades, deeply influenced me. Although I never met Gandhiji, I was always inspired by the stories shared by those who lived with him, particularly his resolute commitment to nonviolence. The ancient belief that the world is one family always resonated with me. Even as a child, I would tell my friends that I had family all over the world. That sense of belonging to the global family was almost a compulsion within me. You mentioned, Gurudev, before, ask me the questions that Google can't answer. So I Googled, how can I be happy, and received 6 suggestions. Practice gratitude, exercise, sleep well, practice mindfulness, and cultivate relationships and set reasonable goals. How would you answer the question differently? Google's answers are good, but I would add de stress yourself. Stress is the main cause of unhappiness. You can't say I'm happy if you are stressed, they cannot coexist. Inner peace is essential for happiness. When we are burdened by stress, anger, anxiety, or uncertainty, even though happiness is our true nature, we are unable to experience it. Gurudev, this morning call-up announced that Finland and some Nordic countries like Iceland are the happiest in the world. As someone who travels extensively, do you find this surprising? Not at all. In my experience, yes, they do appear happier. They have fewer personal worries and instead focus on global issues like the environment or world peace. However, I do disagree with India's rankings. Having traveled across India, I can tell you that despite certain challenges, people are far more content than in many conflict ridden regions. Do you think it's possible for governments and leaders to create happy societies or even happy countries? Absolutely, it should be part of their agenda, not just providing food and shelter, but ensuring that people are happy. Happiness is an inner state, not just influenced by material surroundings. In many poorer countries, there is a sense of community and compassion which brings happiness despite economic hardships. We need to look at happiness as a state of mind as well as fostering care and togetherness. America has dropped to 24th in the World Happiness Rankings, and there is a rise in loneliness, political division, and other factors. What's your advice for America in addressing polarization and these challenges? I am concerned about the youth in America. There is less social interaction, and we see two extremes, aggression and violence on one side, and suicidal tendencies and depression on the other. The key is wellness programs that teach young people how to manage their emotions through programs like Sky Sudarshan Kriya, which are being implemented in 145 universities across the US. Students can learn to handle stress and regulate their emotions. If you could leave one piece of advice for everyone here to de stress and find happiness, what would it be? Don't take happiness too seriously. Keep things light and simple, and you will find it easier to let happiness flow naturally. Thank you so much for this conversation, Gurudev. We are privileged to have you close the World Happiness Summit with a guided meditation. Good morning, everyone. This is the penultimate conversation of the World Happiness Summit, and we couldn't think of a better person to interview than Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji. Just a short but formal introduction. Gurudev is a global humanitarian, spiritual leader, and ambassador of peace. His programs for health and holistic well being have impacted more than 800 million people in over 180 countries. Gurudev believes that inner peace is the key to creating peace in the outside world. He seeks to build bridges between beliefs and religions, universalizing wisdom and fostering greater compassion, love, and mutual understanding. to create a stress free and violence free society, not a bad mission statement. So, welcome, Gurudev. Thank you so much for joining us on World Happiness Day. It's a great privilege. Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Gurudev, a personal question to start with. Can you share with us the first time in your life when you developed an insight or maybe even an epiphany on the idea of becoming a happy and fulfilled person? From my young days, I always thought of a society free from violence. Whenever there was conflict, I had this urge to jump in and separate the parties to bring peace. That's a beautiful thought, Gurudev. So, this notion of inner peace being the key to happiness, it's about working from the inside out. Just like beauty is an inner experience, so is joy and happiness. It's a state of mind. If your mind is agitated, stressed, angry, or filled with anxiety, happiness, which is our true nature, becomes inaccessible. So, to experience happiness, one must first clear the mental clutter. That's insightful. This morning, Gallup announced that Finland, along with other Nordic countries like Iceland, have been named the happiest country in the world. No, I'm not surprised. The Scandinavian countries do have a high level of happiness. Their governments take good care of their people, and there is very little personal worry. You have worked with government leaders and civic leaders worldwide. Do you think it's possible for them to design and build a large scale communities or even entire countries focused on happiness? Yes, absolutely. Government should focus not only on providing shelter and food, but also on ensuring the well being and happiness of their people. Though I don't fully agree with India's happiness ranking, I believe India is doing much better than portrayed. In many homes in India, families share meals together and de stress through meditation or prayer. Such small practices can make a big difference. In poorer regions, even though there is less material wealth, there is often a stronger sense of community and care for one another. I have seen this in slums. People have more compassion and share a sense of togetherness. So, happiness isn't necessarily tied to wealth, it's about the state of mind and community bonds. America dropped to 24th in the World Happiness Rankings, and the country has been experiencing rising rates of loneliness, polarization, and political division. What advice do you have for addressing these issues in America? I'm particularly concerned about the youth in America. There is less social interaction. We are seeing extremes in behavior. So, yes, a Skype program which is already being organized in 145 countries would be a good idea. Gurudev, for those insights, thank you very much. You touched on a beautiful point about the interconnectedness of inner peace and societal peace. From your experience working with leaders across the globe, do you believe that this personal journey toward happiness and stress relief can actually influence larger global issues like conflict and violence? Absolutely, it can. When individuals find peace within themselves, they naturally spread it around. You cannot spread what you do not have. If you have inner peace, you can contribute to creating a peaceful environment. The same individuals, if agitated or stressed, can unknowingly contribute to chaos or conflict. When the collective consciousness of individuals rises toward peace, it reduces stress and tension at a larger scale, even at the level of communities, nations, and eventually the world. I have seen it firsthand in conflict ridden regions in Colombia, for example, during peace negotiations with the FARC rebels. We worked with both sides of the conflict. It was amazing how simple breathing techniques and meditation help people release years of pent up anger and trauma. The same people who were engaged in conflict found common ground through peace building processes that started with their own personal transformations. That's very powerful. As you know, we are at a point in history where divisions and conflicts, whether political, ideological, or social, are becoming more pronounced. In your opinion, what role does spirituality and meditation play in bridging these divides? The world is so diverse, different ideologies, cultures, languages, and perspectives. Meditation, spirituality, and wisdom go beyond these differences. They bring us back to a common shared experience, the human experience of joy, peace, and compassion. The shared experience allows us to transcend divisions. Often, conflicts arise because we hold on to our rigid identities, whether they are national, ethnic, or ideological. Through meditation and spiritual practice, we become more flexible and inclusive. This is the key to bridging divides. When we recognize the divinity or the shared essence in the other person, it becomes impossible to hold on to hatred or prejudice. That's beautifully said, Gurudev. Gurudev, you have also often spoken about youth empowerment. Could you share some insights on how we can inspire and empower young people to take charge of their mental and emotional well being in today's digital age, which comes with its unique challenges of stress and distractions? The youth today are very intelligent, dynamic, and aware. However, they are also faced with a barrage of distractions and pressures. They live in a world where social media, instant gratification, and peer pressure can easily overwhelm them. My advice to young people is to make time for self care, mindfulness, and meditation. We introduce the Youth Leadership Training Program, YLTP, and yes, youth empowerment and skills to help India and young people manage their emotions and energy through breathing techniques and mindfulness. When they feel centered and at peace within themselves, they can achieve so much more without burning out. The digital age has many benefits, but it also poses a challenge of information overload and constant comparison. So it is crucial for you to step back, pause, and reconnect with their inner selves regularly. That's a great advice. Technology is both a blessing and a challenge in today's world. As you said, moving forward, if you had one wish for the future, Gurudev, for society, for our planet, for the youth, what would it be? My wish is simple, a world free from violence, stress, and suffering. I envision a world where people live in harmony, where they care for one another, and the planet where no one is left behind. But this can only happen if we start from within, if each of us takes responsibility for our own mind, our own happiness, and our own well being. This ripple effect will spread to families, communities, and eventually to the whole world. It is my hope that every individual realizes that they have the power to create a peaceful, joyful life, and that this contribution is essential for creating a better society and world. Thank you, Gurudev. Your words give us hope and a path forward. Before we wrap up, one last question, Gurudev. For someone who is new to meditation or to the spiritual path, what is the first step they should take to begin this journey? The first step is to simply take a few moments every day to pause and breathe. You don't need to make it complicated. Start with something as simple as mindful breathing or sitting in silence for a few minutes. We often underestimate the power of the breath. Just observing your breath for 10 to 15 minutes a day can bring so much calm and clarity. There are many guided meditation programs available today, including the Sudarshan Kriya technique we teach at the Art of Living. This practice helps to cleanse the stress and tension from the system, making meditation easier and more effective. And remember, meditation is not about forcing the mind to be quiet. It's about finding that space within where the mind naturally settles and relaxes. The more you practice, the more you will experience the benefits. Thank you, Gurudev. That's a wonderful takeaway for everyone here. We have learned a lot about happiness, stress, and the importance of inner peace. We are honored to have had this conversation with you at the World Happiness Summit. Before we end, would you like to guide us through a short meditation as you often do in such settings? Notice how calm you feel now just after a few minutes of mindful breathing. When we pause like this, we connect with a deeper part of ourselves, and this is where true happiness resides. You can carry this calmness and clarity with you throughout the day. Thank you so much, Gurudev. That was a wonderful way to conclude this session. On behalf of everyone here at the World Happiness Summit, we are grateful for your time and your wisdom. Your insights will surely stay with us, guiding us toward a happier and more peaceful world. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Remember, happiness is your nature and it is available to you at every moment. Just breathe, smile, and share this joy with others. Gurudev. Gurudev, it's remarkable to hear how much can be transformed from within through simple practices like breathing and meditation. When we think about the larger systems, governments, organizations, education institutions, do you think the same principles of stress relief and happiness can be integrated at an institutional level? And how do we make these practices mainstream in the world's biggest systems? Yes, absolutely. Institutions and organizations are made up of individuals. When individuals are happy, peaceful, and stress free, it reflects in the functioning of the institutions. This is why we have introduced stress management and leadership programs in many organizations, corporations, and even in governments. In fact, we have seen tremendous success in integrating meditation and mindfulness into workplaces through programs like corporate art of living and leadership programs designed specifically for organizational settings. These programs help employees manage their stress and improve productivity, decision making, and overall well being. The same applies to education institutions. When students and teachers are emotionally and mentally strong, the learning environment becomes much more positive and conducive. Governments around the world have also realized the importance of integrating such practices. For example, we have worked with police forces, armed forces, and bureaucrats in several countries to introduce stress management techniques. A calm and composed mind can make better decisions, handle pressure, and be more compassionate. This ripple effect can certainly bring more efficiency and harmony at a larger scale. It's wonderful to hear that these efforts are already being implemented in various sectors. I think it's clear from everything you have shared that there is a deep connection between personal well being and societal progress. Switching gears slightly, I wanted to ask you about something that you are well known for your humanitarian efforts from disaster relief to promoting peace and conflict zones. You have led numerous initiatives. Can you share some insights on how spirituality guides you in these humanitarian missions? Spirituality is at the core of every humanitarian effort we undertake. When we feel connected to others at a deeper level, compassion naturally arises and we are moved to help those in need. Every life is precious and the suffering of one affects us all. In times of disaster or conflict, people are vulnerable and in pain, not just physically but emotionally and mentally as well. Our humanitarian efforts, whether it is a disaster relief, rehabilitation, or conflict resolution, are holistic in nature. We provide not just material aid but also mental and emotional support. Programs like trauma relief through meditation and breathing techniques have been very effective in helping people overcome the trauma of war, natural disasters, or other crises. For example, in Iraq and Syria, where people were living under the constant fear of violence, we conducted trauma relief programs that helped them find inner peace despite the turmoil around them. Similarly, during natural disasters like earthquakes and floods, we have provided immediate relief and long term rehabilitation, offering people the tools to rebuild their lives with strength and resilience. That's incredibly inspiring, and it speaks to the power of holistic care addressing both the physical and mental aspects of well being. As we look ahead to the future, what do you see as the biggest challenges humanity will face, and how do you think spirituality and meditation can help us overcome these challenges? One of the biggest challenges we face is stress and mental health issues. Despite advancements in technology and living standards, stress, anxiety, and depression are on the rise globally. This is largely because people have become disconnected from their inner selves. There is an urgent need for emotional and mental well being to be prioritized. Another challenge is environmental sustainability. The disconnection from nature has led to environmental degradation. We need to cultivate a sense of responsibility and reverence for nature. Spirituality can help in this because when you feel connected to yourself and the world around you, you naturally become more mindful of your impact on the planet. Lastly, divisions in society, whether they are based on religion, nationality, or ideology, are also a significant challenge. Spirituality, which emphasizes our shared humanity and interconnectedness, can help bridge these divides. When we see the world as one family, the barriers between us start to dissolve. It seems that the solutions to many of our modern challenges lie in ancient wisdom in reconnecting with our inner selves and the world around us. Gurudev, as we draw to a close, I want to ask you one final question. In a world that is increasingly fast paced and filled with distractions, what is your message to those seeking peace, happiness, and purpose? My message is simple: just take time for yourself every day. Just a few minutes of meditation or silence can make a big difference. Don't chase happiness outside, it's already within you. The key is to quiet the mind and turn inward. Once you connect with that space of calm and joy within, you can face any challenge that life throws at you with a smile. Also, keep in mind that we are here not just for ourselves but to contribute to the well being of others. The more you serve and care for others, the more fulfilled you will feel. Happiness comes not from what you get but from what you give. Thank you, Gurudev, for sharing your wisdom and for reminding us of the importance of both inner peace and outer action. It's been a profound and enlightening conversation, and I'm sure it will resonate with everyone listening. Thank you, Justin. It's been a pleasure to share this space with you and everyone here. Remember, happiness is our birthright and it's available to us at every moment. Just take a deep breath, smile, and know that life is here to be lived with joy and compassion. Jai Gurudev. Gurudev, thank you so much for those words. You have spoken deeply about inner peace and the power of meditation. One question that many listeners may have is for those who are just starting out on their spiritual journey, how do they maintain consistency, especially in a world that's constantly pulling them in different directions? What practical advice would you give for maintaining a daily practice? Consistency comes when you understand the value of something, when you experience the benefits of meditation, the calmness, the clarity, the energy it brings. You naturally want to continue. The key is to start small. Don't expect to meditate for an hour on the first day. Start with a few minutes, even 10 minutes a day is a good beginning. Another important thing is discipline, but it should be a joyful discipline. If you treat your practice as a burden or something you have to do, you will struggle. Instead, see it as a time you are giving to yourself, a time to connect with your own inner peace. Also, create a routine. Just like you brush your teeth every morning, let your practice become a part of your daily life. And don't worry if you miss a day or two, the mind tends to slip into guilt. but just gently bring yourself back to the practice. Over time, it will become as natural as breathing. Regularity in practice is more important than the length of time. That's very encouraging. Starting small and being kind to ourselves seems like a good approach. Gurudev, you have worked with youth from all over the world, and I've heard you speak about the importance of empowering young people. In today's world, where many young people are dealing with anxiety, uncertainty, and pressures, what advice do you have for them, and how can they lead fulfilling lives amidst the challenges they face? The youth today face a lot of pressure, but they also have tremendous potential. My message to them is to take care of their mental health because that is the foundation for success. When your mind is clear and calm, you can achieve anything. Techniques like meditation and breathing practices can help them handle stress, build focus, and maintain enthusiasm. One thing I often tell young people is not to get too bogged down by short term failures. Life is a long journey, and setbacks are just stepping stones to success. Every failure teaches you something valuable, and don't compare yourself to others. Each person's journey is unique. Focus on your own growth and goals. Lastly, find a purpose beyond yourself. When you are driven by a bigger purpose, you are less affected by the ups and downs of life. Service to others brings a sense of fulfillment and joy that no external achievements can provide. That's such an important reminder, finding purpose and taking care of mental health. Speaking of service, I wanted to circle back to something we touched on earlier. You have done remarkable work in conflict resolution and peace building in places like Colombia, Iraq, and Venezuela, and even Ayodhya. Can you talk about the role spirituality plays in conflict resolution, and how does it help bring people together in situations of intense division and violence? Spirituality helps people rise above their narrow identities of religion, ethnicity, or nationality. In conflicts, people often get caught in these identities and lose sight of their shared humanity. Spirituality helps dissolve these barriers by reminding people that at the core, we are all the same. We all want happiness. We all want peace. In conflict zones, we work to bring a sense of calm and perspective to both sides. When people are stressed and emotional, they make irrational decisions. Through meditation and breathing techniques, we help individuals release their stress and anger, allowing them to think more clearly and with compassion. This is the first step toward dialogue and reconciliation. I have seen firsthand how meditation can transform even the most hardened individuals. In Colombia, we worked with guerrilla fighters who had been involved in decades of violence. After participating in our programs, many of them experienced a deep inner shift and expressed a desire to leave behind the path of violence. It is amazing how, when the mind is peaceful, even in the midst of chaos, people are able to forgive, reconcile, and move forward. That's truly powerful, Gurudev. It's fascinating how there and these inner techniques can have such profound effects in real world conflicts. In light of this, how do you envision the future of global peace building efforts? And what role will spirituality and meditation play in creating a more peaceful world? I believe that peace building must start from within. If individuals are not at peace, how can societies and nations be peaceful? Meditation and spirituality provide the tools to create peace within individuals, and this ripples out to families, communities, and ultimately nations. We are seeing more and more recognition of this in the world. For example, organizations like the United Nations and various governments are beginning to include mental well being and emotional resilience in their peace building strategies. The future of peace building will be a holistic approach, one that includes not only political and economic solutions but also addresses the mental and emotional well being of people. There is a growing awareness that without inner peace, outer peace is not sustainable. Meditation is a simple yet powerful tool that can create this inner transformation on a mass scale. I see a future where spiritual practices are integrated into education, governance, and diplomacy, leading to a more compassionate and peaceful world. That's a beautiful vision of the future, Gurudev. Before we conclude, I would like to ask for people listening who are interested in joining the art of living or learning more about your teachings, how can they get started and what are some first steps they can take to bring these practices into their lives? It's very simple. The first step is to take one of our introductory programs. The happiness program is a good place to start. In this program, you will learn techniques like Sudarshan Kriya, a powerful breathing technique that helps eliminate stress and bring clarity of mind. You will also learn practical tools for living a more joyful and balanced life. You can visit any of our centers worldwide or join an online program if there is no center nearby. Once you experience the benefits, you can deepen your practice with advanced programs, meditation courses, and even become a teacher if you feel inspired. Another way to begin is by attending our satsang spiritual gatherings and engaging in service activities. The community aspect of the art of living is very strong, and being in the company of like minded people helps to reinforce your practice and keep you motivated. Thank you so much for sharing that, Gurudev. It's wonderful to know that there are accessible steps for people to start their journey. I think many listeners will be encouraged to explore these practices for themselves. Before we wrap up, do you have any final message or thought you would like to leave us with? I would just say this: life is short and every moment is precious. Don't wait for happiness to come from outside. Take responsibility for your own joy and inner peace. Meditate, serve, and live life with a sense of wonder and gratitude. When you do this, everything else falls into place. You will find that life is not just about surviving, but about truly living with love and compassion for all. What a perfect way to end this conversation, Gurudev. Thank you once again for sharing your wisdom, your insights, and your time with us today. It's been an honor to speak with you. Thank you, Justin. It's been a pleasure to be here. May my best wishes to all, Gurudev. Gurudev, the conversation so far has been deeply insightful, and we have touched upon several important aspects of spiritual practices, mental well being, and global peace building. I would like to take this moment to address a question that is perhaps fundamental to many for individuals who feel lost or disconnected from their spiritual side. How can they reconnect? What is the first step to reigniting the sense of connection to the self and to the world around them? This is a very relevant question, especially in today's fast paced world where so many people feel disconnected or out of touch with themselves. The first step is to reconnecting with your spiritual side is simply to pause. Life today is full of distractions, and we are often caught up in doing rather than being. Just taking a few moments to pause, to be still, and to observe yourself, your thoughts, your emotions can make a huge difference. Breathing techniques and meditation are wonderful tools for this because they allow you to quiet the mind and bring your awareness back to the present moment. You begin to experience a deeper sense of connection with yourself. Once you feel more connected within, you naturally feel more connected to others in the world around you. Start small, as I mentioned earlier, and be patient with yourself. Even if you don't feel an immediate shift, you know that every time you meditate or engage in spiritual practice, you are planting seeds of awareness and connection. With regular practice, these seeds will grow and you will start to experience that deeper connection once again. That's such a reassuring and gentle approach. Taking that pause seems to be the key to so much, be it reconnecting spiritually or simply finding clarity in a busy world. Now, you have mentioned the importance of community or satsang in supporting one's spiritual journey. Gurudev, could you speak more about the role of community in maintaining and deepening one's practice, and how does being part of a spiritual community benefit an individual? Community or satsang plays a very important role in one's spiritual journey. When you are part of a like minded community, it becomes easier to maintain your practice and stay motivated. In a satsang, everyone is striving for the same goals: inner peace, growth, and service. This creates a collective energy that uplifts you and keeps you on track. Even when you might otherwise feel discouraged or distracted, being in the company of others who are also walking the spiritual path helps you to learn from their experiences and gain insights into your own journey. It's a space of support, encouragement, and inspiration. You share your joys, your challenges, and your growth with others, and this strengthens your connection both to the practice and to the larger purpose of life. And there is a lot of joy in coming together in satsang, chanting, meditating, share knowledge. It's a reminder that spirituality is not just a solitary practice, it's also about coming together in unity, love, and service. I can see how that sense of belonging and shared purpose can be so important, especially when life throws challenges your way. On that note, many people today are seeking purpose and meaning in their lives. They might feel successful in a material sense, but are searching for something deeper. How can spiritual practices like those taught by the Art of Living help individuals discover their true purpose? Purpose is something that naturally unfolds when you connect deeply with yourself. Often people search for purpose outside, in their work, in their relationships, or in material achievements. While these things are important, they don't always bring lasting fulfillment. True purpose comes from within. Spiritual practices such as meditation help you quiet the noise of the external world and tune into your inner self. When your mind is calm and clear, you can hear the whispers of your heart more clearly. You begin to understand what truly matters to you and what your gifts are and how you can contribute to the world. This is where purpose is born, from a place of inner clarity and connection. Meditation helps you move from the periphery of the center of your being. When you are centered, you naturally align with your deeper purpose. And once you discover that purpose, everything else, your work, your relationships, your actions, begins to fall into place. It's not about achieving something external, it's about living with a sense of meaning and fulfillment from within. That's beautifully said, Gurudev. Finding that alignment within oneself can indeed be transformative. As we approach the end of our conversation, I want to bring attention to something you have been a strong advocate for: the integration of spirituality into education. How do you see spirituality complementing modern education systems, and how can it contribute to the overall well being of students? Education today focuses a lot on intellectual development, but it often neglects the emotional and spiritual dimensions of a child's growth. Integrating spirituality into education is about creating a more holistic approach to learning. It's not just about imparting knowledge, but also about nurturing the overall well being of the student. Spiritual practices such as meditation and mindfulness can help students manage stress, improve concentration, and develop emotional resilience. These are essential life skills that are often missing in traditional education systems. When students are taught how to handle their emotions, how to calm their minds, and how to connect with their inner strength, they become more balanced and grounded individuals. Spirituality also fosters values such as compassion, empathy, and service. When students are connected to their inner selves, they naturally become more caring and aware of their impact on others in the world around them. This creates a generation of not just intellectually competent individuals, but also compassionate, responsible global citizens. That's such an important point. It sounds like this approach would create a not only more balanced individuals but also a more compassionate society overall. Gurudev, this has been a truly enlightening conversation. I know our listeners will take away so much from your wisdom. Before we conclude, is there any final message you would like to share with everyone? My final message would be simple: life is a gift, and every moment is precious. Live it fully with awareness, joy, and a sense of purpose. Take time each day to connect with yourself through meditation and share your love and light with others through acts of service. When you live from this place of connection and love, your life becomes effortless and joyful. Remember, we are all part of one global family. Let's take care of each other and our planet. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and spread peace wherever you go. Thank you so much, Gurudev. It's been an absolute honor to have this conversation with you. Your words are inspiring and will no doubt resonate with so many people. Thank you for your time and for sharing your wisdom with us today. Thank you, Justin. It's been a pleasure to be here. My blessings and best wishes to everyone. Jai Gurudev.